Okay, we're going to form our speaker on a 6-cup Glad resealable container. Drill holes in the sides of it, and I used a standard bit here. It's a 9/16. You want a bit that has edges on it that protrude downward from the edges, because as we cut the hole we wind up scoring it. Only when the drill at about 100 RPMs. You wind up cutting out pieces like this, and you need to drill these holes because we need to vent the air out of the back side of the speaker cone. A sour cream container will fit really nicely in there, very easy to center. That will be held down with contact cement at a later point in time. This is going to be used to support the spider. Now here we're making the spider. The spider holds the cone, the center voice coil, straight, keeps it centered. And we made this by cutting out a piece of cloth, and then we coated it with standard contact cement and let it dry. We're using cloth instead of plastic so it can't resonate. The spider is a piece of cloth material that holds the speaker cone in the center. The sides of it have been clipped so that they'll fold over easily. This has been coated with contact cement so that the fibers cannot come apart, and it gives a little bit of stiffness to it. We want this to be able to stay tight. We just glue it in place and it won't flop. Like I said, it holds its shape, makes it very easy to mount. Again, everything in constructing the speaker, it's important to keep things as centered as much as possible. The idea I had is to use a cap from a piece of black iron pipe, and we're going to put the magnets in the center and we're going to bolt them in. Okay, and then we're going to have a cavity around that the voice coil will travel up and down in. But obviously the trick is getting everything centered properly for this. And we need to have a smooth interior, so what we're going to do is we're going to use a short nipple here. I have filed the inside so it's smooth, and what we're basically going to do is we're going to screw this in, and we're going to be cutting it off so we'll have a nice smooth interior on the short section inside. But we need to hold this magnet inside, and we can do that by centering the hole, taking a 15mm socket, threw a little tape on there to build it out slightly so that it fits really nice inside the end of this. I also selected a drill bit that fits nicely in here. Now we're just going to lightly screw that in, and then put the drill in, and we're just going to drill a pilot hole. Not even a hole, just a dimple inside. So it pilots the smaller drill bit here that we're going to be using to drill through. And then we can stack the magnets with a bolt and bolt them in. And when it's done, the magnets will have a clearance between this and the inside of that pipe, and that will be where the voice coil will fit. And then we deburr the inside edge so that we don't get any sharp edges facing that voice coil. The next step will be attaching it to the bottom of this bowl with the screw. We're going to back it up with a flat washer, or fender washer as they're called. In addition to the magnets you have here, we're going to stack on a few washers on the top of the stack. The reason for doing this is we want to influence the magnetic field to come out the sides, not the top. And we do this by kind of creating a lamination of sorts by having individual steel plates, in this case washers. When we do this, the magnetic field will be influenced out to the sides where the voice coil is located. This will improve the strength of our speaker. All speakers are made this way. And but these are too large, as you can see, in diameter. What I do is I took 3 of them and I put them on a screw, and I put them on a drill and put it up to a grinding wheel. In this case it was best to run the drill in reverse direction so that the nut wouldn't back off and the washers would always stay tight. It would also be good to super glue the washers together prior to doing it. This has been milled down via the grinder to the same diameter as these magnets, so that it will fit squarely on top when bolted together, and the voice coil will pass over it. I've stacked about a half a dozen of the neodymium magnets here. They're very strong. Make sure they don't slam together when you assemble it. so don't crack. There's a lot of iron powder around here from drilling and so forth. Try to keep it very clean. If you do get a little on there, just use some tape or something to pick up the little pieces off the magnet. Pass this through. I'll drop this one as such. The next step will be to insert the magnets, and this is very risky. You don't want to break the magnets putting them in. It's going to get sucked in very quickly and very hard, so try to be careful. There's a lot of force on these. It wants to stick to the wall. It's in. Next, we had here the washers that I had stacked up. I'm going to take them off of the screw. We'll set these on top. It's clean, no particles. Try to avoid any iron powder from getting in there. I'm not sure if I could take those magnets out if I wanted to. They're really in there strong. Make sure there's nothing on the screwdriver. Try and center them up. We'll put the nut on. I would probably recommend straightening these up with a non-magnetic tool. Lightly tight. These neodymium magnets are very brittle, so you don't want to screw that down too tight. So find something here to push those around. Straighten things up. Tighten it. Okay. I've coated the spider with contact cement. I very carefully just set the support so it self-centers, and then I just drop the coated cloth right on top of it just very lightly. Now I can pull it out and I can finish that up, invert it like this, and go through and just very carefully bring up the tabs. The next step will be to take the spider. It's going to mount in right above like that. As you noticed, I have about 1/4 inch above the magnet, because we need room for the cone to move up and down. Once we have the center voice coil shimmed and in place, we can glue this into place, and we can let this float around and then glue it in place so it finds its own center. This way we're not influencing the voice coil to go off center because of the way we glue it.